Good morning, my dear students. Children, today we will start with History, chapter number 9, The Making of the National Movement. Children, in this chapter we will learn about emergence of nationalism, the growth of mass nationalism, about Rolat Satyagraha. We will also learn about the participation, effort, struggle of various national freedom fighters in independence. Children, in the previous chapters, like from trade to territory, we have seen that Britishers came in India for trade, and after getting Diwani rights, they started capturing territories and kingdoms. We have learned about the introduction of new laws and administrative institutions. In chapter Ruling the Countryside, we have discussed a lot about various revenue systems introduced by Britishers in India to collect revenue from peasants, zamindars. We have also learned about cash crops production like indigo cultivation, which ruined the lives of peasants and tribals. Children, in the previous chapters, we have also discussed about educational changes in the 19th century, and there was a lot of debates regarding the condition of women. In chapter like when people rebel, we have discussed a lot about the revolt of 1857. We have discussed like different groups of people, kings, rulers, peasants, sepoys. They participated in the revolt of 1857 because they were very unhappy with the Britishers' rule. In that chapter, we have also discussed about aftermath, like what Britishers did to suppress the revolt of 1857. And in chapter Weavers, Iron Smelters and Factory Owners, we have discussed about the decline of crafts and growth of industries. Dear students, in the previous slide, we have already discussed that when Britishers came in India and after getting Diwani rights, they tried to change education system of India. They tried to reframe Indian society, but they brought about lot number of changes in social customs and practices. They changed our industrial system. And we have also discussed that it ruined the lives of peasants, soldiers, iron smelters, weavers. And after the establishment of East India Company, they started using the revenue of India to meet the revenue demand of their own company. The revenue of India they were using for their own profit, for their own trade. And various groups of people were unhappy with them. They were discontented with them. Now the above mentioned developments led the people of India to ask a crucial question. Like, what is this country of India and for whom it is meant? And gradually they got the answer like India was the people of India. And all the people, irrespective of caste, color, creed, language, all these resources belong to them, were meant for them. And soon they realized that Britishers, they are using these resources and they have a complete control on these resources and also on the lives of these people. They also realized that unless and until this control will be ended, India could not be for Indians. They won't be able to use these resources for their own development. And this consciousness began to be clearly stated by the political associations formed after 1850, especially those that came into being in the year 1870s and 1880s. Children, we have discussed that people of India, they realized that Britishers were using the revenue of India to meet the revenue demand of East India Company. They realized that Britishers have complete control on the resources of India as well as on their lives. And they realized that they won't be able to use these resources unless and until they will end the control of Britishers. And for this, various political associations were formed after 1850. Most of these were led by English educated professionals such as lawyers. The most important ones were the Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the Indian Association, the Madras Mahajan Sabha, the Bombay Presidency Association, and of course the Indian National Congress. Now children, the name Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the meaning of Sarvajanik is for all the people. Sarva, all, and Janik means of the people. Though these associations were functioning in specific parts of the country, but their goals were stated as the goals of all the people of India. They were considering the goals of all the people of India, irrespective of their religion, caste, community, because they were working with the idea that the people should be sovereign. The word sovereign means the capacity to act independently without outside interference. Means the people of India should be empowered that they will be able to take their own decisions regarding their own affairs. Children, we have discussed that different groups of people of India, like rulers, sepoys, peasants, zamindars, they all were unhappy with the Britishers in India. And because of this, different political associations were formed after 1850. And they worked with the idea that people should be sovereign. Means that the Indian people should be empowered to take decisions regarding their affairs. And it was the most important feature of nationalism. Children, we have already discussed that sovereign means capacity to act independently without outside interference, means people of India, they don't need any outside authority to control them. They should be made capable enough that they can take their own decisions. Children, now this satisfaction with the British rule intensified. It increased in the 1870s and 1880s. Now in the year 1878, Arms Act was passed. Now this Arms Act disallowed Indians from possessing arms. In the same year, Vernacular Press Act was passed. Now the main aim of Vernacular Press Act was to keep those people silent, those who were against the government, British government. The act allowed the government to confiscate means to take the assets of newspapers, including the printing presses. Now this act allowed the government to take over the assets of newspapers and printing press if they will publish something which is against them. So they do not want that press should publish anything against them. Children, now in the year 1883, there was an attempt by the government to introduce Ilbert Bill. Now the bill provided for the trial of British or European persons by Indians and sought equality between British and Indian judges in the country. But when white people opposed this, they forced the government to withdraw the bill. And when actually white people forced the government to withdraw the bill, Indians were very, very angry. Enraged means very, very angry. Children, we have discussed in the previous slide about Ilbert Bill. Now, Ilbert Bill was a controversial measure proposed in the year 1883. Now, this Ilbert Bill allowed senior Indian magistrates to preside, means to decide the cases involving British people in India. Children, we have also discussed that white people opposed this bill and they forced the government to withdraw it. Children, now the need for an all India organization of educated Indians had been felt since 1880. But the Ilbert Bill controversy deepened this desire. Now, in the year 1885, Indian National Congress was established when 72 delegates from all over the country met at Bombay in December 1885. Children, now delegates means a delegate is a person who is chosen or elected by a group to speak or vote for it. especially at a meeting. Now children, in Indian National Congress, the early leadership was of Dadabhai Naroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tyabji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Romesh Chandra Dutt, S. Subramaniam Iyer, amongst others, were largely from Bombay and Calcutta. Now children, we will discuss something about Dadabhai Naroji. He was a businessman and a publicist who settled in London. Now publicist means someone who publishes an idea by circulating information, writing reports and speaking at meetings. And he was also, for some time he was also the member of British Parliament. He guided the younger nationalists. Children, now A.O. Hume, a retired British official, also played a very important role in bringing Indians from the various regions together. Children, now we will quickly recapitulate whatever we have learned today in this session. So children, we will start with some of the definitions like sovereign. Sovereign means the capacity to act independently without outside interference. Now publicist means someone who publishes an idea by circulating information, writing reports and speaking at meetings. Children, we have discussed about Sarvajanik. So Sarva means all and Janik means of the people. So Sarvajanik means for all the people. Now children, we have just now discussed about A.O. Hume. So A.O. Hume was a retired British official. He played a very important role in bringing Indians from the various regions together. Thank you children. Stay home, stay safe.